Ravsan Boylian is a former AI lead for T-Mobile and CarMax. He's built orionq to do one thing and one thing only: perform under fire. orionq is an AI-backed service that uses Q tokens clients use to set up alongside their infrastructure to adapt to business. Ravsan, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks, Jeffrey Powers.
What is orionq? Tell us in your words.
orionq is primarily the world's first agentic revenue operations software. And we look at revenue operations much more differently than what it traditionally used to be. Traditionally, it's like, there's sales team, customer experience team, engineering and data science teams that are trying to accomplish this one goal: is cut time, bring customers closer to clients, and generate more revenue. However, as I was working with all these industries, as you know, I work for CarMax, T-Mobile. Before then, I worked for Microsoft, Deloitte. What I've noticed is that to get to revenue operations, it's a big challenge. You have to ingest the right data. You have to build forecasts, seasonal trends, and it's a lot of hassle, honestly. But what if we reverse engineered it? And on the flip side, what does really matters to a business? What matters is that customers are out there if your product is great. And how do you find those customers? So I started imagining there was a room full of customers in different groups, and each group had different product that they're talking about. One is ice cream, one is cookie, chocolate chip, Oreo. So these are different groups standing there. And you have this stage and podium, and you want to be able to reach out to all these customers. What do? You scream, say, "Hey, this is Ravsan." It's loud, right? It's too much noise. How do you reverse engineer to bring customers closer to you? And now we have this AI technology that can allow us to do that. So we have Rev Agent that picks up phone calls for call centers. We have Q Intelligence, that's a search engine that's for the internal company's internal database, protected by mutual trust certifications, protected by all the cybersecurity cool stuff that we have integrated with, and it's super easy to use. We have marketing and lead generation concept that we're working on that's coming up soon. So all this creates an ecosystem that we call the Agentic Revenue Operations Platform. And that's exactly what we're trying to build. We're trying to shorten the time it takes for your employees in a, let's say, enterprise firm to do their job in the shortest way possible and get instant communication. It's no more like, "Hey, Joe, can you find me that PDF? I don't know where to put it in SharePoint." And then Joe's like, "Ravsan, it's in XYZ folder." And I go open the folder and they're like, "Well, I don't know which PDF you're talking about." And now Joe's like, "All right, I'm going to call, I don't know, Matt or Jeffrey Powers on what the PDF is." And now Jeffrey's all that time, all that is gone, right? Now You have the time, you can do things much faster at an employee level. We have marketing, we have the right analytics, and we have LLM actions. In fact, PTO is just like a webhook right now for us.
Okay. So it basically works alongside the existing infrastructure that you have to create automated instance to that, correct?
Correct. Existing infrastructure that we have, create the automated instance. And the best part about us is personalization. Every company, every people is different. So we personalize the experience and our Q intelligence model tailored to our clients and their customers, right? And the way it works is pretty simple. We train a model, we put it in a very private containment AI environment that only talks to your company, and that's almost like your Ferrari, right? You have this model, we trained it for you, we put it in your environment, and you're using it. You're enhancing your experience for your employees, for yourself, and also it's picking up phone calls with a robust knowledge base, knows how to answer phones and give the customer the information they need 24/7. But it opens like a whole new opportunity for different optimizations and shortening the time for processes, which is at the end of the day, money. I look at time as money. Shortening time means more money. That's how I see things in simple terms.
It's a good thing to think about that way. Yeah, I'm assuming that this is going to work with software that has some sort of open AI to it, or some sort of way to connect to it. Or do you have a way to connect to legacy systems that don't have any type of connection points for the AI to come in?
So the AI is not going to be a traditional like OpenAI API call or OpenAI or Claude API call. We're going to train our own model, And in Llama nowadays, you can download a model and use it on your PC if you have the right GPU. And it's the same type of model, but more enhanced and fine-tuned, personalized for the company. The model, it will stay within the company's infrastructure. And, let's say AWS, and we host it there, and it's guarded by gateways, firewall, and all that stuff. So it really integrates to, all the legacy softwares. I don't think there is any issue integrating nowadays. We have done it with CostPoint, we've done it with Asana, we've done it with Jira, Confluence. Really, a lot of the tools that our clients already are working with are a little bit somewhat modern, not super legacy, but even if it's legacy, I'm pretty sure we'll be able to connect via API and do webhooks or push data however they need it. So that's where the personalization really kick in. So it's not only a software out of the box, it's personalized to your needs. So we're going to definitely organize the AI agents for you.
Okay. And you mentioned Claude. Can you say what your backend is like for the AI models?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So our backend for AI models right now, we're just testing locally using Llama and training the models, LangChain, LangGraph. We have Rackflow that we're using. Our agentic framework uses Crew AI, N8N. We're testing with different, you know, orchestrated by Python, of course. We're testing different ways we can train these models, organize it, right? Different vector database and how does it pull data more efficiently. So there's lots of technologies involved when you try to train the model. If you know AWS, they offer different types of compute GPUs, which makes it very easy for us.
Okay.
And basically, that's our backend. It's Python, N8N, make.com, and a lot of custom stuff for that will ensure that if any of our providers break, we just don't, we just don't vanish out of nowhere. So we're actually working on building a lot of stuff as custom for our own, which we are working and hoping that we have an investor so we can dive deeper and really build these things out as we would love to, right? And we're also already running pilot with our telco clients, so that would give us enough research and use case to expand further.
Okay. We're talking with Rasim Boyan from orionq. We just mentioned some of the models. So when you come into a client, tell us how that works, because there's got to be a lot of creation, a lot of understanding of what their infrastructure is to attach your infrastructure into that.
That's a very good question. That's where the challenge of AI adoption comes in. When I was at T-Mobile, I trained 2,500 plus executives, a total of 7,500 executives actually, on understanding AI use cases and how to make decisions on what type of AI they should have their developers build so they don't end up wasting resources. Building AI use cases, wasting resources on building something that you think is going to be very cool and then it ends up becoming, no one uses it or you don't find it very useful, is a lot. There's a huge percentage. So the goal is to understand AI at a fundamental level to build the right use case or develop. Now, integration, having another user interface is a huge AI adoption problem. Yep. Nobody wants to learn another user interface, another buttons, another set of, so what we're really truly building is we're going after is we're trying to get rid of all the buttons, all the UI, all the hassle. We're trying to make it more automated with LLM actions. And that is one of those things that I bring up to the client. And I say that, hey, look, integration is not a problem. We can do that with our software. Admins can look at all these dashboards they would like, but we're trying to make it very lightweight. So you don't have to log into another tool and find out how it's working. It can maybe log in as with a passkey, right? Your fingerprint or whatever that is that you have available in your computer. Mm-hmm. We also have, a search engine that's just so simple. It's just a box with a microphone, right? And you can type in it and all that to find your SharePoint data or whatever. So these are some of those things that we're really simplifying. We're really trying to tackle that part where you don't need to use a mouse. You don't need to use keyboard 100% of the time. Let's make it simple. And you can still have your tech stack. We just integrate to it.
Okay, perfect. Where does the data from orionq sit?
Sure. Right now, the data for orionq is sitting in AWS. right?
Okay.
So we have AWS services that we use to fit the data, right? We have DynamoDB. We also have we also have GCP for the orchestration side of things. So we're really trying to go for hybrid cloud system,
Okay.
and there's a good reason for it. I've seen that there's like a lot of bottleneck that happens when you have just Azure or just AWS or just GCP. So we are working on a system where we can, with through infrastructure as a code, we can have services through two, like GCP and AWS. So that's where the data is going to sit. Of course, we're going to have SQL servers, we're going to have Postgres, we're going to have NoSQL servers, right? Cache database servers. Those are all going to be very secured. All we're planning on, we are working already on using Venafi to secure those endpoints
Okay.
with certs, zero trust certs.
Okay. So does the client information mingle at all? I'm assuming you're setting up separate instances for each client.
Absolutely. It's going to be separate instances. It's going to have its own bubble. We're not going to client AI model, client
Mhm.
data, how it flows, what dashboard they see, what charts. They're going to be completely separate instances, and it's going to be, managed to a certain extent by us. We're going to just take care of the debugging side of this, but the data is there, the environment is there, the model is there. We're going to train the model whenever the client would ask us to train it. We don't want to auto train models or auto improve, because what if it does something weird? We're like,
Yeah.
oh no, we like the last model better, and it'll be a terrible mistake. So again, it's like a Ferrari. You're modified as you go. It just gets better.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to look totally different from company to company, and that's great. What if you have let's say an all Microsoft shop? I'm assuming that you can use this in. You already said that you're testing it in different environments.
Yeah. So if our client is different cloud services, that's fine. We'll just open an instance for them with the instance that we use, right? So if
Okay.
that's okay with them, that's great. So we have our own instance, we have partners, and that's really how we like to move forward, because we're a startup. And I'm going to be honest with you, we don't have all the certs. We don't have all the NIST, GDPR, CCPA 100% laid out. We
Okay.
are working on SOC 2. We're very close. So we have partners that are cybersecurity service providers, managed service providers. We're going to leverage our partner to make it this all-in-one solution where the cloud service and where the data is secure, staying, creating the client's instance are all going to be packaged up and delivered to the client. And that's less of a hassle. And they understand, okay, these are the services that we're hosting. And it doesn't have much management because we're going to manage it. We're going to make sure the client gets everything they need. If they do want to manage like the endpoints and all that stuff, I mean, they're welcome to. And that's what makes us great. It's personalized experience.
Okay. Let's talk about these Q tokens. How does that work?
That's a very good question. So Q tokens, ultimately, it's a currency within our software. So you don't have to think about, okay, this is $5, this is $6, this is $7. Like you don't have to think in terms of dollars. Although we have currency that you can see, like you can convert the Q tokens, and we're very transparent about how much 5 Q tokens is worth. However, it's very easy to speak in terms of Q tokens. So our revenue operations software will have a set amount of Q tokens that will add. Again, the set amount is also based on the average calls that a customer gets per month. And also, so they'll be able to see, okay, I have 12,000 minutes worth of Q tokens, and this is how much we're using. I think we need another like 500 Q tokens because we had an overage. And they're going to cost like maybe 2 Q tokens more, right? So also the dollar value of how we break it down, those are something that we're really working on right now, so we can build that a robust personalized experience. So we don't say that 10 cents is like a million Q tokens. It just doesn't make sense, right? We want to make sure that 10 cent is 1 Q token, 20 cent is one, and the client is fully transparent. They understand what it is, and it will have the dollar value right next to it. So you can choose, but the whole goal of the Q token, the purpose of the Q token, is to really understand and that there's a currency, and we can say that, okay, you know what? Instead of saying $20,000, 75 cents, or $25,000, hey, we have like a 10,000 Q tokens that we can still use. That's included. versus not. And same goes for we're coming up with a pricing model for the search engine, but that's going to be the easiest to adopt because it's not going to be as, expensive like calls per minute type of deal with the search engine. It's more subscription cost and easy to adopt.
What if you have a company that needs to have something like this on premise? Maybe it has to be air gapped from being out on the network. Can you work with that?
Absolutely. If it has to be air gapped and out of the network, 100% we can work with that. There are, things that we're testing every day, right? Let's say you are, I come from a military background and I'm from the DoD. I have a top secret clearance and government public trust clearance. And I've worked in SCIF in the Army while I was supporting the Army as a data scientist, data engineer. And there it has to be very strict, like the networks. You need to have network cards monitor, like is your updates done and all that, everything, right? But we are working on models that actually sit on your laptop. You don't even need the internet to run.
Oh, nice.
It's trained and understand your data. It has updated information from your intranet, not internet, internal intranet, and it updates once a week. And I mean, I don't think we update our intranet that often, but everything else, it can stay in an air gapped environment. It could have, let's say, firewall to get through things. It can have, the various security protocols and cybersecurity that you have, the technologies that you have, and we have no problem with that. And one thing for sure, that we're not gonna have any managed control over it, but we're going to set up those updates and how it pulls in data every week, once in a while, or they have their own cybersecurity. So that sounds to me like a government use case, right? So we hand it over.
Or financial, yeah.
Or financial. We're more than happy to hand it over and just get reports on how much value we made, because we want to charge based on value as well. Like if you're providing tremendous value, we need to figure out a way to charge them. And we need to make sure that we improve our software accordingly, which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the end of the goal, is to enhance their revenue significantly.
So it's whether you're a bank, whether you're a regular company, whether you're a hospital that has to abide by HIPAA law or anything like that, this software will be able to adapt to whatever your need.
Absolutely. And that's why it's so important for us to have partners. It's the time where there is more and more micro consulting firms popping up, and they have niche and they're really good at those specific things that they do. And we have partners that are really good at cybersecurity. So when we have to adapt it, and they have all types of certs, HIPAA, GDPR, CCPA, NIST, SOC 2, and beyond that. So we want to make sure 100% that we have them deploy our software into that environment with all kind of, valid resources that we have. And it can simply work like, a SaaS software for lending firms, right? Like, you're seeing that how much value it's providing, and we improve it from there.
So what inspired you to actually build this software, put this company together?
That's a very good question. My inspiration came from how can I optimize time and efficiency, and also solve the big problem of let me get back to you later, or give me 10 minutes. Let me get back to you later. I think there's an easy solution for it, because we have, if you from the 90s till now, you see that everything that we're doing, we're heading in this one goal, is like fast data transfer, which ultimately means that you're bringing your customer closer to your clients, not like physically close, but closer as in I can dial a phone number and now I can order a system or an appointment immediately and get the service I need as fast as possible.
Okay.
And that's what people are looking for. I mean, I ran tests where I called construction companies, plumbing companies. Nobody picks up. Everything goes to voicemail. Still to this day, it's going to voicemail. And I always think, like, what's the problem there? And then I'm fishing for plumbing companies, and then one of them picks up and they get the job. What happens to the rest of them? It just stays on voicemail. They call me back later. Sorry, we don't need your service. It's a broken system. And that's really what I wanted to fix. And that's what motivated me, that, okay, I have the lending experience with MCA, Merchant Cash Advance, fast cash for businesses. I have experience in CarMax, T-Mobile. How can I solve that gap? And honestly, that's a $3 trillion gap of in America not picking up the phone and missing opportunities. Somebody told me it's actually more than three, it's like $3.7 trillion opportunities of missed revenue opportunities. And that's really what I'm solving. It's
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. Yeah, that is crazy. So I'm a new client that's looking for something like this. Where do I start with orionq?
Sure. If you're a new client looking for this, then you want a solution to your revenue operations, right? You want a solution to, okay, Rafsan, what do you mean by agentic revenue operations? What can you offer? Or you may have seen our website, but you didn't have time to. That's when we do the meeting. We jump on a call, understand your use case. Our first goal is how can we help you solve this problem? Whatever problem you have with revenue operations. Is it a marketing thing? That's something we're working on. Is it lead gen, or is it, actual call center issues? Or do you want the RevOps agent just for your company because you get such a high call volume? What about the search engine? Can that help you? So that's the first thing. Like, what are the problems the client is facing? What their pain points, and how can we help them solve it? When do they need this product installed by? Or does it make sense to prep this product, get more understanding, or do a session of AI adoption for the client to understand, do I really want to invest my time and money into this? Okay. And that is really our goal, is to get to that point. And we welcome everybody with open arms. We don't want to waste anybody's time or money.
Yeah. And from what it sounded like from there, this can be internal facing, this can be external facing for whatever your needs.
Oh yeah, and it can be both at the same time too. For example, plumbers, sometimes the owner of the plumbing company are the ones doing the plumbing, right? They have a team, but they're also working on pipes and everything. And honestly, they don't have time to pick up the phone, sign in into an app and internet and all that stuff. So if we, let's say, and those companies have call centers, they leverage call centers to book appointments and all that. Mm-hmm. What if this AI solves a few problems there? First of all, it's 24/7 and it can schedule appointments. And then the plumbers, they'll see in their dashboard that their jobs are being scheduled. Secondly, any urgent calls are going to go as SMS, text messages. You don't even have to log into anything. So the AI will pick up the call, talk to the customers. And if it's an existing customer and something you fixed yesterday and whoops, it broke, the AI can call you or send you an SMS as an urgent call to go refix or rebuild whatever you didn't fix properly, or whatever client, or give them a call back. And that's really how we bring customer closer to our clients, is using technology. In fact, we are also working on geo analytics. If a plumber is in X location and the customer that needs urgent help is like an hour away, we will find points in time from their calendar to figure out in what time they can get there and how long will it take them. So these are some of those operations that we want to stay away from the internet. We don't want them to. What if you don't have service? You just have text messaging capabilities. Yeah. We're going to use that. So that's the goal.
Or if somebody's got a problem, it's not too urgent, and the plumber will use the plumber idea that the plumber's got two other gigs on there. I'm assuming what it'll do is it can actually do some rerouting and say, hey, then call the clients and say, hey, he's going to be running a little bit late. So you can plan for that. And then he'll have a more streamlined approach instead of going from point A to point B and then back to point A or close by to point A to take care of another job.
Absolutely. Very streamlined approach. And the cool part is you can call the AI. You can talk to it. It's like, hey, look, I'm not available for this. 3 p.m. is my lunch because I'm having a late lunch. I can't make it. Can you call the manager, get us on the phone? And so we can figure it out. Yeah, sure. Yeah. I see you're 4 p.m., but I can also transfer it to Paul because Paul has enough time today to get this done. Can I do that? Sure. Can you call Paul and make sure that happens? It calls Paul and makes sure that the appointment gets set up. So it's really an AI that's there for utility, just helping you out throughout these processes.
Well, Rafsan, that's an amazing thing. Where do people go for more information?
Absolutely. People can go to our website orionq.ai, orionq.ai, and book a call.
All right, Rafsan, thank you very much for your time. And I hope that people will check out orionq if you're looking for something for your whatever you're doing business-wise. If you just need help and you need some sort of organization to everything, then you're good to go. Thanks a lot, Rafsan.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeffrey Powers. Appreciate it.